What was your first writing job officially, and how did you get that?
Well, technically, the first thing I got paid to write was kind of weird because writing is delivered in you're either staffed on a show and you're given a title and your job is to pitch ideas, or you're given the other way to get paid as a TV writer is to write a freelance episode of a TV show. So like when you're a working TV writer, you get paid a weekly salary, but you also get paid to write an episode of television, right? You get paid a fee. But if you're not a weekly writer, sometimes they'll give an assistant a script to write. That you get that same fee. So that's professional writing, but you're just not getting paid the weekly amount. You're just getting paid to write that episode. Or get your name or your credit on that episode. That's why you say written by or story by or anything like that. So my first technical credit that I got was a story by on White Collar. But it was weird because I didn't have almost anything to do with that episode creatively. It was kind of a weird situation where we were our credit chain, we were brought in. I was working on the showrunner's other show as writer assistant, but he wanted to basically as a kind of a gift to the assistants for doing a good job. If you prove yourself, that's your incentive. If you're really, really proving yourself, your showrunner will throw you a bone like an episode or co-writing. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how you prove yourself. And so he was going to throw me and the writer's assistant of White Collar at the time a bone by having us co-write an episode of White Collar. But when we started, this whole drama started. It wasn't our fault really. It was just a lot of drama between the network and the studio and the showrunner and all this kind of stuff. So the way the episode order shook out, they shrunk the episodes and they had to we pitched out an entire episode and they ended up kind of taking it away from us. Like we pitched it, but we weren't allowed to write it. So we came up with the bones and then other writers wrote it, and so they threw us a story by credit. That makes sense. So we didn't actually type anything. That was the first one. But after that, I got a co-written on Graceland, and then a full episode on Graceland, and then finally staffed on that show.
So how long had you been working as an assistant before you got that opportunity?
Yeah, well, I was fortunate. I'm fortunate in that aspect because I was an assistant on the same, what I call a boat, which is the same boat, which means the same crew of people, of writers. Even though it was two different shows between White Collar and Graceland, it was almost the same. It was the same showrunner in the same office building, kind of running both shows at the same time. So I got to kind of move along the same boat, which a lot of writers don't get. These days, they jump from show to show because there's a million Netflix shows, right? You have to jump from show to show to show to show. So I know some writers who've worked for 10 years, writers assistants who work for 10 years, 10 different shows. But because you don't get enough time on that show to prove yourself, you just keep jumping from job to job to job to job. I was really fortunate that I was on the same boat for 5 years. So within the 5 years, I made a good do of it. So on White Collar, season 3, I was a writer's PA for a year. I was a writer's PA again on season 4 on White Collar. And then I moved over to Graceland right away on season 1 as a writer's assistant. Season 2 as a writer's assistant. And then I was staffed on season 3. So basically 4 seasons of television, 2 as a writer's PA, 2 as a writer's assistant, before I was promoted to full-time writer.
Just kind of working and waiting
for
that.
Exactly. But it was that's pretty... Depending on who you talk to, that's pretty fast. That's on the faster end. Again, like I said, to most people it could be 10 years, 5, 10 years. It really depends. Some people get crazy opportunities in 2 years. It just really depends. But that was. It felt like I earned it, but at the same time, I was very fortunate that it was the same kind of showrunner that hired me to begin with. That really cultivated me to become a writer.